It is time. Shark's in order. Our shark. There's a sharknado coming.
Dragon sharks?
Are those sharks with laser beams attached to their heads? Welcome to the Real Sharks.
And what's going on, all my real sharks? And we got another actor episode for you here today. We're going to be talking about a man who's played many roles in Hollywood. He's been an emperor, a love-stricken nerd. He's been Johnny Cash, and now he's playing the iconic role of the Joker. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be discussing Joaquin Phoenix and all his movies today on Real Sharks. So let's go ahead and ask the question. I mean, what has Joaquin Phoenix been in? And we're going to discuss many of his movies. Most of them get mentioned, some of them won't. But for the most part, Joaquin Phoenix, I would say, is he's a growing actor before everyone's eyes still. I mean, I know that sounds funny, but he's the whole theme of an actor that has literally was Hollywood's media darling. Then he had a fall, and now he's on the rise again. Two of his first films, which we're going to kind of combine, because he basically plays the same character, which is Space Camp 1986 and Ruskies 1987. You can actually find both these movies on YouTube. He's not the main character. He's the third wheel side character. Yeah, it's Joaquin Phoenix, and, Joaquin Phoenix when he's young, it's interesting, You definitely see the birth of a star here. I mean, I really don't have too much to say about this, these two films, besides he's in them. I feel they need a mention because it was the start of his career. He did a lot of TV series then, including he was in Superboy as Billy Hercules, Episode 1, 1989. Then he did The Parenthood, 1989. Again, he played Lee Phoenix. Same kind of role, right? Am I right?
I feel like this one is a little bit more...
a little older. He was a little older.
But this one, I guess, was more so the breakout, because Parenthood's such a
iconic
film that it kind of got him noticed.
Here's where I'm going to say the juice of this whole thing comes in with some of these films of Joaquin Phoenix, which is To Die For, 1995. This movie had Nicole Kidman in it, married to Matt Dillon. Joaquin Phoenix is in it a little bit, so that's why he gets a mention. Casey Affleck is in it, Alina Douglas, Allison Folland, Dan Hedaya. It's an interesting film. It's a mockumentary type movie about basically Nicole Kidman, and she's kind of a sleeping around kind of chick. I mean, it's kind of a dirty kind of film about who's sleeping with who kind of movie. I don't really recommend this film, to be honest with you. I'm a Nicole Kidman fan at that. I find this film to be very, very sharp and boring. And by sharp, I mean it tries to do this mockumentary style, but you could totally tell it's just a film. It's like, oh, we're just going to hold the camera at you on a white screen, and we're going to pretend that's some kind of reality TV when it's still a cinematic camera. There's no nothing to it. There's no grittiness to it. It's supposed to be a mockumentary, and I know some people say, well, some mockumentaries are clean. Yeah, that's true, but some mockumentaries also look like a documentary, which is what it's supposed to portray. This movie just, to me, didn't do any of that. You had a lot of in-betweens between documentary and real film. Joaquin Phoenix just plays a little naive kid, actually, in the whole movie, so that just basically looks at Nicole Kidman as she comes in to a school, so that's basically his whole role in that film. Anybody have anything to say about that movie?
It wasn't as bad as I think that you're saying. This came out pretty close to the mid-90s, or exactly on the mid-90s, actually, 1995. It was. It was a showcase of Kidman, for sure, because she was at the height of her career, and this was not more so for Joaquin Phoenix's, breakout role or something to kind of say, hey, he's in this too. It was kind of like and him. Just another kind of guy.
I mean, he was at least on the title sequence.
Yeah, he was in there, but he wasn't, like you said, he wasn't in there a lot. But I wouldn't say if you blink you miss the type of character. He was just a character in the film that was not memorable.
Here's an interesting film, Inventing the Abbotts. Basically about, as the summary on the back of the film goes, two working class brothers court three wealthy, beautiful sisters in small town Illinois. Yeah, that's what it is. Joaquin Phoenix is he's one of the main characters. He is actually the biggest main character of the story. The reason I even really, not to mention Liv Tyler's in it as well. The reason I would give this film such a good kind of nod is because this is definitely where they got the idea for him playing Johnny Cash. His mannerisms in the film, the way he looks, the way he acts. There's parts in the film where he's just by himself, just kind of smoking a cigarette, and I'm like, whoa, this looks just like Walk the Line in like some parts of the movie, like almost exactly, just him younger. I definitely see this is where they got the idea for him to play Johnny Cash. Was this film, as a film itself, kind of boring. It's kind of like multiple Romeo and Juliet kind of film. You know, me against us against the world. I mean, these two brothers are kind of competing for these chicks. I mean, I don't know. It's a typical romantic film, I guess. It's okay.
But for Joaquin Phoenix though, personally,
I think he did good. I mean, it's almost kind of a Wonder Years almost film too. It does a lot of like narration. It almost doesn't know what it wants to be, almost in a way. It's kind of weird. That's why I'm saying. I mean, I wouldn't say I like it, but I wouldn't say I hate it either.
It was just weird. It was another one of these. I totally agree with you. It's his mannerisms. I think especially the hair, the way he was like just going about how he's speaking, the laid backness. I guess. Yeah, I think that kind of got him the role, and for another one of his movies we'll go over. I don't know. I think it was like his adolescence. Like he's finding himself. He's a lot older now. And he's trying to find his niche, and it's a hard niche to follow in the 90s, but he was trying to find his way here.
I mean, this was like one of the first movies where he's thrown into actual limelight for a movie that he has almost towards a starring role in it.
This is true.
Other than that, I like the chemistry between him and Liv Tyler. I thought that was really good. I mean, I did get the feel of the Wonder Years in it a couple of times. There
was this time in the 90s where they were trying to bring back that old Wonder Years-esque type of film.
They're fascinated with they were fascinated with the concept of the wholesome family ideas in the 90s and kind of playing tropes on it, like a Pleasantville. What else came out in the Truman Show? A lot of things like that they were bringing light to, and I think he was trying to find that niche, but for himself, kind of in a Johnny Cash way, but not really being Johnny Cash. You know what I mean? It's like a nameless, faceless Johnny Cash.
Agreed. Like I was saying, I definitely see this movie as being the precursor to him playing Johnny Cash. And we'll be right back, all our listeners. So I'm laying in bed, and I'm having this weird dream. I mean, a really weird dream. Next thing you know, I'm on board a freaking ship, guys.
What?
Right? And these aliens here, they're giving me the face hug treatment.
Whoa.
Giving me the chest bursting treatment, you know?
No way.
Just give me the basic Travis Walton experience.
Man.
And you know what they told me?
What's that?
We're a big fan of the Real Sharks podcast. Welcome back to Joaquin Phoenix movies. Alright, so the next film we got on this Joaquin Phoenix tour, or the filmography of Joaquin Phoenix, is U-Turn 1997 with Sean Penn. Now, this is more of a Sean Penn film, and the only reason I'm mentioning this movie is because, my God, it's a hilarious role for Joaquin Phoenix in this movie. He plays, oh God, he plays this guy named TNT. It's hilarious. Not going to even get into it too much. This film is odd. It's an Oliver Stone film, first of all. And it tries to do this natural-born killers / small town where everything bad happens to a dude / try to make Sean Penn look like he's a good guy. Oh, yeah! And it's not very good. It actually has a pretty good cast in it. You know, Sean Penn, Billy Bob Thornton. It had Richard Rudo, John Voight, Jennifer Lopez is in this film.
Nick Nolte.
Which is funny because, you know, it takes place in Surprise, Arizona, even though the location, I'm sure there's some parts that are filmed in Surprise, but for the most part, a lot of it looks like Phoenix.
Yeah, it was,
It's pretty bad. Not to mention they have a Puerto Rican woman, you know, portraying a Mexican. So, clip on that. The only reason I even give it a mention is because Joaquin Phoenix is hilarious in it. Return to Paradise, 1998, would be his next film in which he played Lewis. Right off the bat, I'm going to say two things about this film. One, it is when they try to make Vince Vaughn a big actor, because this is coming off of Lost World and Swingers. Second, this is for anybody who really likes that show, Locked Up Abroad, because you're going to love this film. Joaquin Phoenix plays a friend of Vince Vaughn who, they're basically in, I believe it's Thailand, and, they're in Malaysia, and they're basically having a good time, cool, party city, hanging out, basically summer vacay, woo, whatever. But then they get a big block of hashish. And right before they leave, Vince Vaughn leaves, he tells Joaquin Phoenix bye, and says, laters, moves back to New York. 2 years later, finds out the guy's in prison. Been sitting in jail for 2 years, got caught with the hashish right as he left. Not to mention, he's going to be dead in a few days if Vince Vaughn and the other friend don't go back and proclaim that, hey, he is not a dealer. He's actually, we're actually just smoking on our own thing. But they have to go to jail too for 2 years. So it's basically like, would you go turn in yourself to save your friend? I'm interested to know why this movie didn't do better, but I can see why. I mean, it is a very, very slow film. Joaquin Phoenix is barely in it, so we're not going to get too far into it. I'll just say the parts he is in, pretty good.
See, this is the thing where I was saying that he's ramping up his style. I think that it didn't get as popular as it was, because it's not a bad film. I think it's just because, like you were saying, Vince Vaughn was really new, and Hollywood was trying to figure him out, and as well as Joaquin Phoenix, they were trying to figure out who he is as an actor and what does he bring. Because if you could just play a character, you're like everybody else, but can you be something more? Can they believe you? And this was kind of like you said, he's not in it a lot, but when he is in it, and he's the guy in prison,
he's suffering.
He's suffering, and you could tell that he's giving it, but do you care? You know what I mean? So it's more so like him.
Good performance on Joaquin Phoenix.
Good performance, but not movie carrying performance.
Yeah.
First time I saw it, I really truly felt bad for Joaquin Phoenix's character, because you're saying with all that suffering, like every time they go back to the prison and see him suffering, and like seeing Vince Vaughn and just how he was portraying his actor, you started to hate him a couple of times. I'm thinking, okay, why don't you just do the right thing? I even said that a couple of times. Do the right thing. Go back to Malaysia.
Yeah. I think it's an okay film. I mean, for all those who, like I said, like Locked Up Abroad, you'll like that movie. His next one is a personal favorite of mine, and many people are going to go, what? And yeah, I actually do enjoy this movie. 1998's Clay Pigeons. This movie has quite a cast, let me tell you. Janine Garofalo is in it. Remember her from Mystery Team? Vince Vaughn's in it as well. And then we have Joaquin Phoenix. He's the main guy. He plays Clay. This film is weird. About a small town guy who's sleeping with his best friend's wife right off the bat. And let me tell you, tells him like, hey buddy, I know you're sleeping with my wife. Kills himself. He actually plays it off to where it looks like it's a suicide or an accident. Because the guy's wife won't help him at all, because she's crazy insane and says she's going to actually pin it on him, and she doesn't want anything to do with it. Now, then Clay, is basically sick of this narcissistic, crazy, psychopathic woman who's basically stalking him, even though he totally killed for her. He finds another girl that he likes, and she kills that girl. And basically he has to get rid of that body now. This is where the movie takes a big turn, and I will say, too, as a movie itself, plot, summary, everything, it seems like 2 films were written for this movie, because enter Vince Vaughn out of nowhere as this whole wholesome, kind of annoying cowboy.
Weird guy.
Really off-putting kind of guy. Basically, he's a murderer, and he starts to pick up the murders for Clay, and basically takes care of, his girl, takes care of a few other people too. Now, it's a big thriller / detective film to see who is doing all these murders. It's not bad, but I definitely don't recommend it for the faint of heart. It is pretty hardcore in the nudity.
And yeah, for 1998 film.
Oh, there's a lot of flesh.
But again, for the role of Joaquin Phoenix in this one,
I like it.
for the guy, I like it for his for a starting role. But now we're in 1998. For an actor that has been in some movies, not really starred in it that much, I have to say that Joaquin Phoenix's performance wasn't, again, movie driven. It wasn't really about him. He was, it was more so about kind of Vince Vaughn's weird cowboy
You're
character.
absolutely right.
And then you're just like, Joaquin Phoenix is in it. Don't get me wrong, he's in it a lot, and you do care for him, right? But you're also like,
He's not a good guy, though.
No,
he's not a
he's
good
not.
guy.
We say
but
this a lot, but he, as a character, is not
he's
a
not
good guy in this film.
And then,
He's
but
been
then
a
you're
bad
like,
guy. Yeah.
He's committed murder,
yeah,
yeah.
he committed murder.
Or
but
helped with murder.
Help with murder, yeah, technically.
Whatever.
But then Vince Vaughn's killing all these
Semantics.
people. So then you're just like, well, he's the guy of the film, right? And then, like you said, like all this other convoluted, like, then this other lady comes into the picture, then he's with her, then she kills her. I don't know if it's a victim of the actor being, crucified by the screenplay, or the screenplay crucified by the actor.
Interesting.
It didn't really help Joaquin Phoenix in a way, but it was a
No,
solid
yeah,
film.
I
See,
will say that.
I feel like he got caught up in no man's land with this one.
One thing I liked about this was like, this is so much of a thriller movie because you got to see a bit of a change in his acting style too.
He does go through a lot in this film.
doing
Yeah,
some method.
he does. He does
Yeah,
a
he
lot
does.
of method acting, which I definitely liked a lot. It kind of showed him going away from like all this romantic stuff and kind of showing what he can do. And that's what really kind of drew me into watching this movie.
Alright, the next movie he was in as Max California was 8 Millimeter in 1999. I'm not going to talk too much about this film. Joaquin Phoenix was a footnote in this film. I actually think it is a strong Nicolas Cage film, and we'll do this film on another one, but for the most part, yeah, Joaquin Phoenix he was okay. 8 Millimeter, though, is a very interesting film. I actually like it. I think it's really good, actually. Like I said, I think it's one of Nicolas Cage's best. But yeah, I don't have much to say about it on the terms of Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, he's kind of just there.
And another one. This is it came out in 1999.
Well,
We're
this
at the
is,
end.
you have to understand, though, this is a lower kind of budget, kind of, this film is,
Joel Schumacher's been hit by the Batman versus Robin bug too, so his directing
Yeah.
prowess kind of got hit.
this movie is really, really down there in the tropes of, like, it's a dark film. It's not a film you show too many people. It's I put it up there with. It's about snuff films. We've talked about this
Like
on
Seven.
like our Cannibal Holocaust episode. It's about a snuff film.
Yeah, but like you said, we're not going to get into this, Rob. But do you feel like again that this is we're right on the cusp of the 20th century for films, and Joaquin Phoenix has yet to kind of break that threshold, but he's not considered a bad actor. He's a good
No.
actor, good method actor, especially for the 90s. He's in films a lot of groundbreaking films. This one's not that groundbreaking, but it's
8 millimeter.
it's a cult classic.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely. I think it's groundbreaking in
And
terms of cult
he's
classics.
not the bad part about the film. But again, another glass ceiling, whether it be the director or the screenplay. Again, it's just a weird film that he's in. Another weird one.
All right, and the next film he was in was The Yards, 2000. He plays Willie Gutierrez in it. From what I've seen of this film, I haven't seen. I won't lie, I haven't seen most of it. I'm not a big Mark Wahlberg guy, as I'm sure most of you guys know on this podcast. From what I've seen, it's a typical. It actually kind of reminds me of We Own the Night, to be honest with you. This film itself, the way it is between Mark Wahlberg and everything, and actually kind of the plot, kind of is reminiscent to the later work in We Own the Night. But that's all I really have to say about The Yards. I mean, Steve, I know you've seen it, so
I have. It was good. It was all right, but do I have to say it again? A showcase for Mark Wahlberg of his acting. I mean, they were going in a different direction, but Joaquin Phoenix, pretty good presence. I wouldn't say a strong one, but it was a solid performance by him. But the film it wasn't that great. Obviously, a lot of us didn't see it besides me. And I've seen this a while back, years ago. It's one of those forgettable films.
All right. And we've spoken about this one on Movies of Antiquity. But we're going to go through it again, and that's 2000's Gladiator, where Joaquin Phoenix played Commodus. Iconic role. You know, I mean, I'll say it again. I'll summarize what we kind of said all together, and I believe I speak for everyone. His role as Commodus is incredible. The role, you know, he's a villain that you actually... He's a justifiable villain in a sense, you know, raised to be the Roman Emperor by Marcus Aurelius to, at the last minute, have it taken away from him and given to a general, or not even the blood of his own.
He's a villain's villain, man.
Yeah, he's a villain's villain. He's one of the most iconic villains, I think, in movie history in this movie. It's going to be forever known. I mean, this is the role, I think, that propelled him into everyone's mind of who he is. It's like when you think of, oh, well, Joaquin Phoenix, who's that guy? It's like, oh, he's the guy who played Commodus. Oh, okay, now I know who he is. Yeah, everyone knows who he is from this role. I can't say too much more than what's already been said on our other shows. I don't mean to be, you know... I know this is a Joaquin Phoenix special, but we did a big, long thing on Joaquin Phoenix.
If you want to if you want to hear more about it, we did go in depth about his acting prowess on that one. So go listen to our Antiquity episode.
Okay, here's one I found to be a delight. 2000's Quills. I actually just saw it. I gotta tell you, I freaking loved it. With Jeffrey Rush, Kate Winslet, Joaquin Phoenix, Michael Caine's in it too. This movie was great. Jeffrey Rush played the Marquez, who's basically you could say a Victorian porn author.
Kinda sounds sexual, so I'll roll with it.
Who's basically writing the first essence of porn. But what's funny about it is he's locked in an insane asylum because he's so crazy. His words are so dangerous, they have to lock him away. And he's basically getting these stories smuggled out in the public by Kate Winslet, who's like a handmaiden in the insane asylum. Insane, crazy story. If you're a fan of theater or a fan of Victorian pieces, highly recommend Quills. I find it to be very, very underrated. Jeffrey Rush, incredible. What a pale ass on that man.
Wow! That's really something.
A weird film. Quills is, and Joaquin Phoenix's performance,
great.
He's
the pastor.
See, now this is again. Here's why I would say like this is the pinnacle of his method acting. Like he took it to another dimension in Gladiator, and in this one he ramped it up.
Might I say too, before you continue, Steve, Quills is a 2000 film. This is done by Searchlight Fox. This is also when they were doing like Titus and stuff. So they were taking some. They were pulling some big leaps out there,
Those some big old ball, like, cause you're taking on like some pretty good ones at this year, and again, you just think about what he's done already. Gladiator, that's in the books. People were awed, inspired. He's on like cloud 9 as like the villain. So what does he do to kind of subjugate that? Because they're like, dang, he's a villain, so he's going to be another villain? No, he's just
I'm going to do Quills.
I'm going to do Quills. I'm just going to be a weird guy to kind of confuse the hell out of everybody. To be like, what do I feel about him? He's acting good, though. So that's where I'm going to leave it then. I'm just going to say it was a weird movie, but he did a very good performance.
Yeah, you know, I love Jeffrey Rush in this movie. And to see Joaquin Phoenix play a pastor was probably like the funniest thing I've ever seen, because I mean, you've seen him do almost everything, but you would never expect him to play a pastor.
The funniest thing that he's played? You mean like as an actor?
As an actor, I found that to be kind of a way bit of a change, just to see him play high and mighty and like, oh my gosh, I gotta be like all self-righteous and everything.
He wrote the end story with his duty. Spoilers.
Yeah.
I have to tell you all though, that's how Jeffrey Rush goes in this film. Spoilers, everybody. I think he died of dehydration at the end. from basically writing with his duty on the wall. I mean, it's a pretty hardcore film. Then he did 2002 Signs as Merrill Hess. Gotta tell you guys, another iconic role for Joaquin Phoenix. Just, I would say, not as big as Commodus, but pretty much there, because everyone knows the whole swing away. Everyone knows that whole thing.
Even the what about the iconic moment when he actually sees the alien in the video, and he has that reaction of like true terror? He's just like, oh, that was great. I think that's one of his another one of those performances. You're just like, dang, that's good. And again, I don't know if it's maybe his first one, especially of the 2000s, a sympathetic character, a real one. Where he's not a weird guy in a cell, or he's not like a dictator. He's just like a regular guy. I think he was like a retired baseball or like a forgotten baseball star.
He is a retired baseball player. He's he's not really
like a burnout.
He's kind of a burnout. Well, he's like a great baseball player, but like they said in the movie, he holds the strikeout record as well as the home run record. Yeah, so he's one of those kind of guys.
Yeah,
he breaks even.
He breaks even
pretty much.
But he's a likable guy. He's like a regular dude.
Yeah,
that you actually are rooting for.
He's kind of representation of the audience in that movie because we're not all on a farm, and he's kind of that whole I just moved here. I don't really know what's kind of going on kind of thing. But he plays one hell of a representation of what a brother, I think, should be in a film, and he played a good role in that film. His next movie, another teaming up with Sean Penn, is It's All About Love. Again, as Steve puts it, sometimes he shines, sometimes he just plays kind of that side character. I'm not going to get too much into this film. It's pretty terrible, I have to say. It's from 2013. That's all I'm going to say. It's all about love.
It's not a lot of... There's nothing. I mean, he's the main character.
Ain't a lot of love for that movie here.
Yeah, no.
And the next movie he did was, I hate to say it, but I can kind of smell it through my microphone here, is 2004's The Village. I know some of you are going to say, what? That movie's grown. No one knows, but I don't care. When it came out originally, it was hated, and I still hate it now, as it was still hated then. And you're giving me that look, Squid, because I know you probably liked it. I think it's dumb. I know what it's about. Oh my god, it's about a town that, these monsters basically come in and out and terrorize them. So they're like, oh, we gotta leave, but no one ever leaves the village. That's because the village is secluded by their own means. Oh my god, what an Alfred Hitchcock twist! M. Night Shyamalan, you thieving bastard. Sorry.
Yeah. It's a very Twilight Zone. It's like, I gotta watch this in like 30 minutes. I didn't need a film about it. It was just weird. Man, I'm gonna say it again, guys.
Joaquin Phoenix playing Lucas Hunt.
Yeah. Oh, another weird. He went back to the weird roles, and his acting was just very subdued. He didn't even feel like it. He was in his character. He was just a guy. He was just like, all right, I'm just doing it. I'm just doing this just to do it. I did, Signs was great. I was in the M. Night Shyamalan like bandwagon. But then this one was I think this is the actual film that people turned on M. Night, which kind of subsequently hurt Joaquin Phoenix, because then he's just like, well, geez, there goes my high of Signs.
I liked it. I thought it was okay.
You would.
I mean, I kind of like the twist. I mean, for an M. Night Shyamalan movie, you want to do better, but I mean, at certain points, like it just goes straight downhill. The ending.
It doesn't have aliens or ghosts. I really don't give a shit.
You just come on, listen, Billy. It's okay. You can just say you dislike Ron Howard's daughter, Bryce.
Well,
Dallas
I mean,
Howard.
this is more like
That's
a
why you watched
Bryce Howard or Dallas Howard movie than a Joaquin Phoenix movie, because he takes a smaller role. He takes a step back, and like after I watched the movie, kind of just seemed like he signed a deal to do 2 movies with M. Night, and says, okay, after this I'm done, and he just kind of phoned it in, and that's why I'm thinking, it's okay. He did an okay job.
Alright, he was then in Hotel Rwanda as Jack English. Not big. Again, not a big Joaquin Phoenix movie. I'm not even gonna I'm just gonna give a mention because he was in it. I don't want to take away from Don Cheadle, because that's an amazing film for Don Cheadle. Well, Ladder 49, firefighting movie where he plays Jack Morrison.
Yeah, he gets like trapped in the house, right?
Storage building.
Yeah.
He messes up his leg, and then John Travolta's character.
Uh,
I think he's like the deputy or something like that, right?
Yeah, he's John Travolta's character is kind of the chief of the firehouse. And what happens is Joaquin Phoenix's character gets trapped in a freight elevator, and he's trying to figure out how he's going to be able to get out, and he kind of starts to think about his life, and goes to a flashback of when he first joined the firehouse. You see the kind of commodity, the funniness that rookies have in a firehouse. There's a lot of serious moments. John Travolta did a fantastic job in this movie. I loved him in his role. I mean, and what can you say about Joaquin Phoenix in this movie? I mean, he played like a great guy who falls in love, and just you see the trials and tribulation with all of them. I mean, and just the ending. Spoilers. I mean, if nobody's seen it, the way he dies is even worse because it kind of takes a toll on you.
All right, and here's the next one. Some people would say this is his best film. I have a lot to say about it. 2005's Walk the Line, where Joaquin Phoenix played Johnny Cash. I think he did an amazing job as Johnny Cash. As good as anybody living today could probably do. And because Johnny Cash had a very distinct voice, it is very hard to replicate that. I understand, and everyone should understand that. So I'm not going to give any marks to his performance as Johnny Cash. What I am going to give marks is basically the script of this movie. Many people don't know, this film actually was written before Ray, although it came out after Ray.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know why, but this film kind of rubs me the wrong way as a Johnny Cash fan. It is good, but it only stays to the story of how Johnny Cash met his wife, his drug addiction. There's really nothing else. You don't really see too much of his achievements. You see how he came up with some songs, how he created the band for the most part, and you see some of those beginning songs that he was famous for, but you never get to hear about how he beat the Beatles at their prime as a solo artist against, a band. You never got to see how he's one of the only artists to ever jump from country to gospel and back again. You never seen all his work with children. You didn't see any of that in this movie. You only saw the stereotypical story that we all knew about Johnny Cash, which is his drug problem and how he met his wife. While Ray, you knew about every person that was ever in his life, his drug problem, from the point he was born, beginning to end, all his achievements, every song. I mean, they didn't even scratch half of what Johnny Cash had achieved in life. So, I like Walk the Line, but in essence, I don't like Walk the Line, but I don't like it's not Joaquin Phoenix's fault for that. Joaquin Phoenix's fault for it.
He did a good job, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
he was a good Johnny, and I can't agree more. I feel the same way, and a lot of people don't like that opinion, but it's not, like you said, Joaquin Phoenix's fault that he did a very good job. This is another tragic tale in Joaquin Phoenix's career here.
Well, no, this movie was well received.
No,
Yeah,
it was well received because it was a Johnny Cash film and he did a good job. I feel like this was the film besides Gladiator. I would give Gladiator that because he was a big part of that.
This
that
is a key star moment.
Yeah,
for
that
him.
he was a key star moment, that he actually carried the film, which made people like it. And it was Johnny Cash, and he did a fantastic job. But like you said, the screenwriting in this film is not that great. It could have been way, way better. Just like you said, where was the charity events? Where was all, why didn't they show, I don't know, half of the songs that he did and how he came up with it? We already knew about the drug thing. You could have had that just like in Ray, where there was a small section of that drug habit. It was too long of that. It's too long of the wife thing. I didn't need that. It was like half the film.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, let's get to the songs. Let's get to his career. It just didn't. It didn't hurt. It didn't hurt him, but it didn't help him again. See, it's another one of these films where it doesn't hurt him, but it doesn't help him either.
The next three films I'm gonna name basically, you know, they're interesting for Joaquin Phoenix's career for what he came when he came off Walk the Line and Gladiator and Signs. He all of a sudden kind of took this weird kind of left turn as he kind of does in his career. And no disrespect to him, he did We Own the Night, which I personally think it's a great film. However, it is not a very well received film. It is slow. It does take some digesting to get through. However, though, I think it's an interesting film. Reservation Road. Now, many people might say, "Whoa, wait a second, that was actually kind of a well-known movie." Not, yes and no. It wasn't that well received. I mean, it did okay.
All right.
Again, I don't know. I don't know. Do you guys have anything to say about Reservation Road?
Yes, I do. It took a toll on him, I think. I think this is the movies where he goes back to kind of having this emotional role. And that's a lot on an actor, guys. The Joaquin Phoenix has jumped at this point all over the place. So I can kind of see that he's either getting burnt or he's like, what else can I do?
Interesting, because then he did Two Lovers.
Yeah, I have to agree with you because he's done so many roles, and at a certain point with an actor, they start to get to burn out with how they play their characters, and like if they do too many dramas, they get too burnt out. And when he did these 3 movies, he was like on his last stretch of what else can I do, and he just got burned out and kind of phoned in a couple of these characters. From what I saw, like Reservation Road, I did not like that movie with him in it. It was terrible.
Two Lovers was kind of a B movie. It has actually kind of a high rating. It's again, it's almost kind of like Inventing the Abbots. I mean, again.
The premise is the same.
Yeah, the premise is basically the same. It's us against the world, babe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's just a movie behind the curve. I think a lot of people in Hollywood had already seen it, just like We Own the Night. Like they already saw the cop film.
Yeah.
They don't need to see another one. So
and I think this is what drove him to do, I think, probably one of the biggest mistakes of his whole career, which is I'm Still Here, in which I don't know what he was doing, but he decided to say he was retiring from acting to be a rapper. And he actually did take a break from acting for a while. And this role freaking killed him because he did do some performances as a rapper. And he was god-awful. And then, all of a sudden, when it seemed like everything wasn't going his way in this, he kind of turned around and almost said, "Hey, it was a joke. It was a total joke." And then people were like, "Oh, yeah, I guess it was a joke." It was also being done with Casey Affleck.
Yeah, it was like a documentary movie.
Documentary.
Yeah.
Another one.
Yeah, when I watched this movie, I remember everything that happened at that time. Like when he went on to like nighttime shows to talk with people, even his interview with David Letterman, putting the gum underneath the desk, and then it just seemed like he was so burnt out he couldn't do any movies, and that's why he went to trying to be a rapper. And then all of a sudden, after like a year or two, oh yeah, I was kidding, I'm not retiring from acting.
Yeah.
Really? And then this movie came out, and you saw everything that happened. You played us.
Yeah, I'm gonna blame. Wasn't like Diddy Combs in this? I'm blaming him. Because the guy, the first film that he's in with him, like, "Hey, I'm gonna retire, become a rapper." Like, what did you say to him?
Yeah, Sean Combs is in this movie.
Yeah, I don't know,
Daddy.
guys. I think you guys are right on that.
All right, so the next movie he did was, again, another film I don't think people really wanted to see, which was The Master, about a naval veteran who arrives home from war, unsettled, and basically doesn't know what to do with his life. It's that typical kind of, what am I going to do when I get home kind of war film, or I'm back home kind of film, trying to get used to normal life. I really didn't think it was that memorable. I'm just going to give it a mention right here because some people actually think it's
good.
They find it good. So
it's pretty good.
I think, Joaquin Phoenix again is good in that film, but I think it's no different really from his other movies like Reservation Road, Two Lovers, even Inventing the Abbots. I don't think it's a different kind of role for him at all.
I think it's kind of becoming like art becoming imitating life at this point because he comes back into acting and he's playing another depressed kind of guy role that kind of doesn't know his way throughout the whole movie, and that's Joaquin Phoenix really, because he's already by this time troubled. So it's an interesting film. I think you go into it with a different mindset like other films. That's all I gotta really say is don't take it as just a regular.
Okay, so the next movie he did was 2013's The Immigrant. Take it away, Steve.
Yeah, this was another weird film. I guess you can kind of call it weird if you're not, again, ready for this type of. It's like an artsy fartsy film about a Polish. Yeah, it's like again, it's because it has to deal with theater and stuff like that, and it's weird. It's a guy, a nurse that is kind of. Yeah, she is. She's like forced into prostitution by this theater manager who's played by Joaquin Phoenix, and he's kind of like going in between lives of becoming this theater manager. So like he's trying to like push out these roles to people, but he's also forcing this lady into making him money on the side. So he's like doing both, and it's just I don't know what's going on with it. I liked it because it was good. It was just good acting. It was a film that's just straight acting. So if you appreciate the art of like acting, it's good. If you take it for anything else, it's not good. And I think that's why a lot of people don't know it or think it's kind of undermined because of that ability. But Joaquin Phoenix did an okay job. Not a great job, but he did a very solid performance for what the director was asking.
And we're going to take our last break. We'll be right back, our listeners.
Do you or someone you know struggle through life with anxiety-related mental disorders? Ever get that feeling that you are one of the few? I'm here to tell you that you are not alone. Take a journey with me as I talk about key points in my past and how they may have led to me being diagnosed with anxiety and panic disorder. After which, we will talk about different ways to tone down the anxiety and maybe even beat it together on anxiety. The easiest way to remember the name is by thinking about how one searches for a state of zen in the midst of the anxieties of life. My name is Gerald, and I'm the host of Anxiety.
Welcome back, everybody. So then he did 2013's Her. He played Theodore. I like this film. But I will say, looking in hindsight now at all his films, like as we're doing now, it really seems like instead of playing the same role as in Two Lovers, Inventing the Habits, he just did it by himself with a computer.
Which is hard to do.
Oh, no, I'm not taking away from it. It is a great film. Her is very underrated. It is the role that brought him back from the depths of disparity, if I may be so bold to say, because Her was incredible. I thought Her was a really good movie. There's not much to say about it. It's a sad romantic film about a guy who falls in love with his computer. There you go. Very futuristic, not far off from what we have now. I recommend Her.
And it's relevant too, and I think this is going to be one of these films that it bring them back because it's so relevant, and it's always going to stay relevant since we're in the age of technology, and there's a lot of these people out here that could do that. They fall in love with like weird things, like a computer that has like a female voice. So it was a good performance. That's a hard thing to do, to method act with something that's not there, and you're just hearing the voice, and the cameras are all on you, and that's a tough performance by Joaquin Phoenix, and you're right, it did bring him back.
Definitely agree with everything you guys said. I mean, what I really liked about this movie so much is just how he's playing this grieving person from the death of, or grieving person, and just him trying to put himself back out there, trying to find love, and to see how he does things, even method acting by himself. I mean, not too many actors are able to do such a thing and pull it off perfectly.
So, Inherent Vice, 2014.
Alright, so Inherent Vice, 2014, Joaquin Phoenix plays a private detective called Larry Doc, and he's I'm gonna say right now he's a heavy marijuana smoker in this movie. A lot of dealing with psychedelics.
The Reaper Madness.
I mean, there are a couple of times where he's like in that kind of reefer madness. He's just tripping out so much. I mean,
God, please.
I liked it. I thought it was funny. I mean,
In your mind.
Yeah, in my mind, I thought it was funny. I mean, it was a good mix of kind of drama and mystery together with that kind of a mix of psychedelics. Just to see how he plays off of Owen Wilson and Josh Brolin. I mean, it was funny as heck.
His next movie, I'm going to give another mention. Irrational Man. He played Abe Lucas. This is kind of a spiritual, soul-searching kind of film. It's okay. Not much to it. I've caught it late night, 2015. It's okay. It's just a kind of inspirational. It's kind of just an inspirational film, or try to be. Low rating, not really known. That's all I'm gonna say about it. So once he did I'm Still Here, then he did You Were Never Really Here in 2017, where he played Joe. What do you guys think of this film?
Oh man, I loved it. I think it was his best film of the 2010s. It was over her because the performance was so raw. Like, and this is like Joaquin Phoenix, like again giving it all. Like, this is all I got. I'm gonna give it all into this character. You feel for it, and that is like I have to keep explaining it that it's extremely tough for an actor to give that type of like raw emotion. Like we're just talking about an Inherent Vice. Like he gave like raw. That's hard to do. You can't just like go off on the handle on the dime like that. And he was doing it in this one. Just that pure. Like you actually felt for him very hard. Not just because the movie's telling you so. Hey, this guy, he's got his daughter, but is she really there? You could put anybody there. You know what I mean? You could put a stick there. Would you gonna care for the stick, or are you gonna care for the actor actually playing the role? And he did a very, very good job.
Yeah, I liked him in this role so much. I mean, it has that dark kind of tone to it that just draws you in. I mean, I know we were just saying about Inherent Vice and just the way he played this Blackie character, to going into this character and being so serious and just that drama and thriller put into it perfectly. I love this movie. One of my favorite movies he did.
So then he did Brother Sister 2018. You know, I think that it has John C. Reilly, Joaquin Phoenix. It's okay. It's a Western film. I just think it's okay. That's all I can really say. John C. Reilly, some people may think, oh, that's crazy, he's in a serious movie. No, John C. Reilly is actually a pretty prestigious good actor. He plays serious roles as well as comedic roles very, very, very well.
It's all right.
I mean, it's all right. It's just okay. It's not memorable, though. No. It's a movie when I walked out of the theaters, I'm not going to go see it again. I'm not going to buy it.
It's hey, I'm going to tell you again, it's another one of those things where it's like, it's not the actor's fault, guys. It's the screenwriting.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah, it's not John C. Reilly and Joaquin Phoenix's fault. I think the pace of the film is bad. I would even say the cinematography of it is a little too... It's getting outdated now. They did Mary Mandolin 2018, where he played Jesus.
You said it, man. Nobody fucks with the Jesus.
I'm not gonna trash Jesus. Yeah, I'm not gonna touch that Jesus. But that's gonna actually wrap up our Joaquin Phoenix actor episode, everybody. And by the time you listen to this episode, hopefully he will have dominated the silver screen as one of the iconic roles as the Joker in October 4th, the Joker movie coming out in 2019. And we look forward to that. So far, the rumors are this movie is 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10 with his performance. So we look forward to it.
Yeah, let me give you guys just a little last pointer on the whole catalog of what the films we had with Joaquin Phoenix. There was a trend that I saw, at least, that this guy is not a bad actor. He's a household name. He's established, but not a lot of people care for him. And it's not because he doesn't have the flair or the acting chops or the transformability as like a chameleon actor. He's a guy who had his problems, but so did Robert Downey Jr. You know what I mean? He's not in great films, but neither was Tom Cruise or anybody else in their beginnings. And I feel like everyone's saying, well, how good is he going to be in a Joker? It's, well, because it's everything that he's done in his life.
This
the
role
Joker.
was made for him.
It was made for him, just like the Joker. He's done everything he possibly can, but he never got that far until he did something left, right? Just like he's been doing in his films. Every time he does something that's good, the screenplay's bad or the director sucks, he goes left. He goes to a completely different genre role and does something crazy, and people don't know how to interpret that. So I would say give him a chance on this. For anybody that's like, oh yeah, I don't want to see him play it, blah, 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 blah. It's like, this man is, I would go as far as saying, an underrated great method actor of our time that no one really pays attention to. Just give him a chance on this one. This was going to be, I think it was made for him, and it's a different take. That's really all I got to say about Joaquin Phoenix.
And that's going to be the Real Sharks Podcast. I'm your host, Rob, with Steve and Billy.
See you guys later.
Yo!
And this has been Joaquin Phoenix Movies.